Sorry, I'm a little late. Had a couple things I had to do before we started. If you can tell, I'm a little bit under the weather. Uh, Give me one sec. Yeah, so I'm a little under the weather. I sound worse than I actually feel, but we had some big news today. We're 2 days from the last Cup final, but we got a draw today for the FIFA Club World Cup. And as you know, two Major League Soccer teams will be participating. We're going to go over the groups, the group stages for each team. Might the likelihood that either one of them will advance to the next stage, the knockout stage. Um, or is it a knockout stage? Is the format similar to the World Cup? I don't think they play two legs in the next round after the group stage. Either way, we'll talk about. I don't even know if any MLS team's gonna have to really worry about that. We're gonna talk about the Seattle Sounders and Inter Miami and the likelihood that they make it out of their group stage. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MLS Moves. Please make sure you like this stream down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Guys, we are 98 subscribers from 5,000. So close. We're under the 100, the under 100 mark, right? We're going to get closer and closer. Hopefully we break that by MLS Cup final day in 2 days. With your help, I know we'll do it. So subscribe if you haven't already. Share this with a friend. Share the channel with a friend. Let's grow the audience as much as we can. You're not going to get better MLS coverage than you do here at MLS Moves. Also, hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Got a lot of comments so far. A lot of comments. Before we read them, I'm going to start off with the first group Inter Miami is in, or the first MLS team. We'll start with Inter Miami's group. In their group, they're in Group A. They have Palmeiras, FC Porto, and let's see what the other team is. Didn't get I know it's a Asian club team. I just didn't get the name of the fourth one. Let's see. It's Al Ali. It's an Egyptian team. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. But that's the four teams in that group with Inter Miami. And then when you look at the Seattle Sounders, now this one is absolutely brutal. Holy hell, this is a brutal group for the Seattle Sounders. They're in a group with PSG, which if that's already better than any team in Inter Miami's group. Then you have Atletico Madrid, and then you have Botafogo. That is a brutal group stage for the Seattle Sounders. Could not have been worse. And honestly, you can make an argument that the third best team, Botafogo, I think would be the third best team in that group, is better than the best team in Group A, whether that be FC Porto or Palmeiras. That's up for debate. But either way, that is just an absolute brutal group stage and group drawing that the Seattle Sounders got put in for the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, let's read a couple comments before we get into this because there's been several comments. Mr. Krabs says, "Oh, there's another MLS team in the Club World Cup. Are they chopped liver?" There's another MLS team in the Club World Cup. Are they chopped liver? Are you saying that both teams? I'm a little confused by what you're asking, Mr. Krabs. Appreciate you obviously asking the question, but just clarifying what you mean there. Adam says it's ridiculous that MLS Cup winner won't be part of the Club World Cup when Inter Miami got bounced in the first round. Hey, there is a serious argument to that. Obviously, Inter Miami had a lot of shortcomings in the 2024 MLS season, especially getting bounced by Atlanta United in the first round of the playoffs. But we knew that they were going to put them in any way that they possibly could. Now, this is about international tournaments, and they're considering Leagues Cup to be an international tournament. That was their justification of putting them in because of the 2023 Leagues Cup, inaugural World Cup format tournament style of Leagues Cup. That was the first year of it. They won that tournament. So that's their justification of why Miami is in. Now, you can argue that that's not good enough, but that is what they say. They're technically the host city club. Come on, we all know that they were going to put Miami in just because Messi's in it. Messi is in. They're going to take any opportunity they can to put Messi and co in the Club World Cup, especially with it being hosted in the United States. They want as many eyeballs as possible. So we knew, yes, Lucas, because they want Messi. That's exactly why they did it. Mr. Krabs says winning MLS Cup doesn't qualify you for the Club World Cup. Winning the Concacaf Champions League does, which Seattle did. That's true, but that was so long ago. This is just such a weird format how they're doing this. I mean, that was 3 years ago almost that Seattle won the Concacaf Champions League. Lucas says it's unfortunate, but that's how it is. Let's see. If I want you to feel, says Ronaldo doesn't sell tickets. He doesn't sell tickets in Saudi Arabia, but he does probably sell tickets in the United States. And I don't think, Al Nassr is they're not in the Club World Cup. So it's another L for Cristiano Ronaldo, another dub for Messi, even if you're going to say it's rigged. Either way, I'm just having fun. Christopher Roman says Miami's draw is a bit difficult. They should beat Al Ali, but Palmeiras and Porto should beat them. Maybe they advance on goal difference. It seems bleak. MLS clubs will struggle, unfortunately. I think that we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, about the team's chances and talk about maybe some changes that can happen to help them out. We'll get into that in just a minute. But Christopher, I do agree with you to a certain extent that Miami is going to struggle as well as any MLS club would probably struggle in this tournament, because it's not even fair as far as the rules. You got teams in this tournament with no salary cap, no roster restrictions, no transfer fee limitations. And you have MLS, the poverty league, as far as limiting what teams can spend, even if the ownership group is willing and wants to spend more. BKER, Baker, maybe. Who's broadcasting these games? I think it's, oh God, who is it? Is it Dazen? Is that how you pronounce it? D-A-Z-N? Dazen? I think, or DAZN, whatever. I don't know the pronunciation, but I think that they're the ones that's got the rights to. I think they paid $1 billion or something like that. Apple TV was trying to get the broadcasting rights, but they failed. So that's who has it, $1 billion. It's going to be international. Kind of sad to see, because I think that Apple really needed to get some global interest in soccer to the platform, and it could have helped MLS after this tournament, but they failed to secure the rights. So it is what it is. It's somewhere else. Rando user says 0% chance Seattle to come with a win in the group of death. Dude, that's worse than the group of death. That's the group of hell, group of slaughter, group of torture. A death would be more humane, would be quick, would be a better path for them. This is the group of torture with who they have to play, because they have to play all these teams. It's not going to be pretty. Bruzel says Sounders a group of death type draw. Chris Ramon says Monterrey has the best shot at advancing past the group stage. Hopefully, Di Michelis plays his best 11 versus River and doesn't sabotage that game. It could be the key of their chances to advance. Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about some Liga MX's group stages too, just because they are representing CONCACAF, just to see what I think, who has the best chance of all the CONCACAF teams to advance to the next round of the FIFA Club World Cup. Mr. Krabs says tactical manager is a Palmeiras fan. He knows more about them. Yeah, my good friend Tack, aka Filippo Silva, is a huge Palmeiras fan, and he also, I think, would find a lot of pleasure in seeing Palmeiras beat Miami and Messi. I think that he will probably try to go to that game if he can. I would not be surprised if he's in attendance for that game. Hell, he might go to a couple of those games. He might go to Palmeiras versus Porto. He might go to Palmeiras versus Miami. I expect him to be active when this happens. Also, let me ask you: do you guys like the FIFA Club World Cup? What's your thoughts on it? It's the first of its kind, having this many teams. It was used to be just the winner of the region, or each continent used to have a team that would play in the tournament. Do you guys like the FIFA Club World Cup? Do you want to see this expand and be maybe the off-year version of the World Cup? I'm open to it. I think it's a cool idea, obviously, because it gives teams a chance to play each other that maybe normally don't play each other in meaningful games. Hell, maybe you guys don't think this is a meaningful game. Either way, I'd like to know what you guys think. Do you like the idea of it, or are you against it? Let me know down below. Bruzel says Chelsea and Dortmund reaping the rewards of Pulisic's hard work, both very favorable draws. The Christian Pulisic effect definitely helped lead these two teams to their appearances in the FIFA Club World Cup. Christopher Roman says, Eric, who used to be part of the Voices of Black and Gold, is a Palmeiras supporter too. Don't be surprised if he goes to their games. I don't think they announced any other stadiums besides Hard Rock. Could be wrong. Yeah, it's going to be some. It's going to be some long travel though for certain fans. I mean, California is very far away from Florida, obviously. Lucas says they qualified for Supporter Shield. You talking about Inter Miami? Yeah, but it's supposed to be an international tournament, not your accolades in an international tournament setting or regional tournament setting, not what you've done in your league, what you've done in your region. So it's a little different. 80s nostalgia guy says LA Galaxy deserve to be there. Maybe they will next year. Maybe they will next year if they can do some damage in the Concacaf Champions Cup. Mr. Crab says MLS has gotten more attention than ever before because of Messi and Inter Miami. Hard to disagree with that. Hard to disagree with that. DAZN. There you go. Okay, so let's talk a little about this group, okay? So let's talk about Inter Miami first. Palmeiras, FC Porto, Al Ali, I think is how you pronounce it, and then Inter Miami, obviously. I think Inter Miami has a chance to advance out of this round. And let me tell you why. You have all these players on Inter Miami who have big game experience. Busquets, Alba, Suarez, Messi, Javier Mascherano might not have the experience as a manager, but he has the experience as a player. He's battle tested on the pitch. He knows what big games are made of, what they contain, what needs to be done, etc. Right? They have the X factor of maybe being nose blind to the pressure, whereas another MLS team isn't used to playing these sorts of competition or in a tournament situation. And on top of it, Inter Miami is making several roster, I don't want to say cuts, but they're changes, right? They're going to bring in some new talent, some new blood into this team, and hopefully help them solidify some of their deficiencies as a team. Now, if you followed Inter Miami, you know that the back four has been a huge liability. Their center backs have been terrible. Toto Alvarez has been bad. Fryer is okay until he got injured. I mean, he was all right, nothing special. Not someone you want to pencil in as a starter next year. David Martinez was okay, but not up to par or what they need to be considering what type of team Inter Miami is trying to be. Now, I expect them to solidify the back line, like I said. Probably bring in another right back. Wingett wasn't good enough, in my opinion. Way too inconsistent. They need to have someone who plays a little bit better on a game-to-game basis. And I expect them to bring in maybe someone to compete with Drake Callender, because I'm not a big fan of Drake Callender, honestly. He is another inconsistent player on this team. And it was funny. There was a tweet saying that Javier Mascherano's given his recommendations ownership of players he wants to acquire or positions. He needs an attack and a 10, a winger, a striker, 2 center backs, a goalkeeper. And I'm just like, dude, this is MLS. You can't do that. That is not how it works. You can't just get whatever you want. You have to be limited. It's limited. You got to be strategic. You can't just get whatever player you want. I wish it worked like that. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, right? Anyway, so I think that Inter Miami are going to build the roster, and we're going to talk about, after I talk about the group stage, we're going to talk about MLS and some changes possibly this winter to really see if this thing could be decent for this tournament, if they actually have a chance. Okay. So I think the Inter Miami can beat Al Ali. Okay. I don't think they can beat FC Porto. I just think the talent disparity is too much. Bigger league, plays in the Champions League. But I do think that Inter Miami can make it interesting against Palmeiras. Now, the funny thing is I think Palmeiras could beat Porto, but I think that Miami could beat Palmeiras. And the only way they can do that is if they solidify some of these positions. So the best case scenario is I think that Miami could go 2-0-1. I think they can win 2 games. I think they can beat Al Ali, and I think they can beat Palmeiras. I don't think they can beat Porto. I don't think they can really beat any of these other big European teams, but I do think they can be competitive with the South American teams. That's my best case scenario. My worst case scenario for Inter Miami is they beat what is it? Let's see. I want to make sure I pronounce this. is it Ali? I think is what's pronounced. Either way, they could beat them. The Egyptian club, we'll say the Egyptian club. They could beat them, and then they will lose to Porto and Palmeiras, and they will be eliminated in the first round or the group stage, excuse me, of FIFA Club World Cup. Now, before we get to Seattle, because as most of you said, it's the group of death. It's not looking good for them. It is a brutal, brutal draw. Probably, just looking at it real quick, glancing over all the teams, probably the hardest group in the whole entire tournament, I would say. Yeah, it is. It's the hardest. I would say it's the hardest group in the whole tournament. Seattle Sounders absolutely got screwed. You could pronounce it like Al Ali. Okay, Al Ali. The Egyptian club Al Ali is the only team I think Inter Miami will beat in this group stage, but I think they can beat Palmeiras. Now, let's move on to what I was going to say about the league in general. Okay, I put out a tweet that said that if MLS wants to compete in this tournament, let me just read the exact quote from you. Because it actually got quite a bit of traction. A lot of people liked it. So I think people tend to agree with what I said when it came to this. I said, MLS teams are going to get cooked in the Club World Cup unless we see some rule changes this winter. And I still stand by that. Major League Soccer has got to do some rule changes. They got to allow teams like Miami. They got to allow every team, right? Not just Miami, every team. But I'm talking about more specifically for a tournament like this, because these teams are going to be battle tested with teams that got more depth, better talent, unlimited spending. It's a whole different animal, okay? MLS is going to have to loosen the purse strings and give these teams a chance to build their team out a little better so that they can compete with these teams. Now, they've been promising for years that they were going to do some tweaks, loosen the roster regulations, so on and so forth. We haven't seen it yet, but hopefully this is the year they finally do it. Now, I've heard this winter they're going to do something. I don't know what to extreme. I don't know if it's going to be a little change, a big change, or somewhere in between. But I've been hearing from numerous people that they're going to do some sort of change this summer. Or excuse me, this winter. This summer was too late. This winter, they're going to do a change. Now, they need to do this because a team like Miami would build probably build a top 25 team in the world if they were allowed to do so. They'd have good center backs, good midfielders, great fullbacks, winger depth, good striker behind Luis Suarez, a good goalkeeper, a true team that could maybe make a run in the FIFA Club World Cup. Not win it, make a run. Okay, there's a difference. Will Inter Miami do this, or MLS do this for Inter Miami and Seattle and for the league in general? Because I'd like to see the quality of the league also improve, not just in this tournament. I'd like to see the quality of the league improve overall. I think they're going to do something. It's long past due. It's best for everybody, and it's what we all want. We want to see more spending. We want to see the league last summer or last winter, mixing up winter and summer. Last winter, Inter Miami went on this international tour and played a bunch of Saudi teams. I think they played maybe a European team or two, but I just remember the Saudi teams they played. They got embarrassed in a couple of those games. I don't think I've been told Jorge Mas wants to spend more to give him a team that can compete because he doesn't want to be embarrassed at this tournament. Not only his club, but he doesn't want the league to be embarrassed. You get to showcase your talents in front of an audience who probably doesn't watch MLS, doesn't watch Miami, definitely doesn't watch the Sounders. You get a chance to showcase your talent to these new viewers that the league is good and competent and competitive. If you go out there and you play Porto and you play Palmeiras, you got Messi on your team and you lose, let's say 4-0, 3-0, 5-0, 5-1, whatever it may be, you get the point though. You get boat raced, you get embarrassed. Doesn't look good on the league. Now, especially considering this is going to be in the summertime, so the MLS teams are going to be in midseason form. So it's very vital that MLS gives these teams in the league in general, I'm not just saying for this tournament, the league in general, more money to play around with, lesser rules, so that way they can make a strong showing and give this league, try to build a good reputation for new fans to want to watch it. That's my point on that. Hopefully it happens. We will see. I understand if you're skeptical about MLS, you have a lot to be skeptical about. They normally let us all down, but we will see. I've heard a lot of positive things. We'll see what happens. Okay. Now let's move over to the Group B, which is what the Seattle Sounders are on, and some of you call it the Group of Death. I call it the Group of Torture. That's what I will call it. PSG, Atletico Madrid, Botafogo, and Seattle Sounders. They have no chance at all at beating any of these teams. Now, do they have a chance of getting a draw with any of these teams? They don't have a chance to get a draw with PSG. They don't have a chance to get a draw with Atletico Madrid. They maybe have a chance to get a draw with Botafogo, but I seriously doubt it. Okay, let's just look at this real quick because I think this is important. Okay, we're going to go over to our good friend Transfer Market. I'm going to show you this real quick. I want to compare these teams in this group and just compare the value. Okay, because I think it needs to be shown. Okay, so if you look over here on Transfer Market, you can see that PSG's club value is close to 900 million euros. Okay, crazy. Probably top 10 most valuable team in the world, maybe top 5. I don't know if they're top 5, but probably top 10 at least. Okay, fringe top 5, 900 million. Okay, pretty good. Pretty not too bad. All right, let's look at Atletico Madrid. Let's look and see what their club value is. Okay, they're worth 511 million euros. Not bad, right? Still $500 million dollar valued club, or $500 million euro valued club. Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Not too bad. Not too bad. Probably closer to the top 15, top 20 range in the world. Let's look at Botafogo. Keep in mind, a team that just recently bought Atlanta United's best player in Thiago Almada, probably maybe MLS's top 3 player, bought him recently. They are valued at 136 million euros. So we're getting closer to the MLS range. We're getting closer to the MLS range as far as value. Now, keep in mind, like I said, 900 million for PSG, 511 million euros for Atletico Madrid, 136 million euros for Botafogo. Okay, now let's look at Seattle Sounders. Let's look at the Seattle Sounders and see what they are worth on the transfer market. It's okay, 49.35 million euros. So you see how it is not good for the Sounders. You look at PSG, they're worth 20 times more than what the Sounders roster is worth. Atletico Madrid is worth 10 times what the Sounders roster is worth. And then you have Botafogo, who's worth about close to 2.5 times what the Sounders are worth roster-wise. It's not really even a competition. It's not even fair. I mean, like I said earlier, you have teams in this tournament who have no roster limitations, no spending limits, no DPs, none of that, none of the nonsense MLS rules. They can do whatever the hell they want. And Seattle doesn't really have a chance because they don't. And even if they haven't really maximized their roster in current MLS terms, like getting all 3 U22s, signing the best possible ones they can sign, replacing their DPs. That they're going to have 2 DP spots open this winter because Rui Diaz is out of contract. They're not renewing, and Albert Rusnak is as well. But they, even if they do fill those 2 spots, they're still going to be short of Botafogo as well. So in Atletico Madrid and PSG for sure, it's not really even fair. Their group is an absolute. It's a nightmare. Okay, it's a nightmare. So I think that the Sounders are cooked. I said that before, and I think if you guys are being honest, you would admit this as well. The Sounders are cooked, and I think that the Miami has a chance. Okay, that's what I would say. Let's see. We got a couple comments. Sam Buck says it all boils down to, can MLS develop players consistently and sell them? MLS needs to become a selling league so that people watch for exciting prospects. We need to create a Benzir. Let's see. It's not about who we buy. It's about who we develop. top 5 leagues are buying leagues. Look, Sam, I would be completely okay with us being more of like an Eredivisie. I would love that. It's probably top 7, top 8 league in the world. I would be okay with that. I had expectations to be in top 6. I've kind of reeled that back in. I would just be happy if we were the Eredivisie, the Turkish league. The Belgian league is kind of taking a step back. I don't think it's as good as it once was, but you get maybe even the French league minus the PSG because I don't think we're going to see that. I would be okay with that. We'll see. But there's a long way to go. In order to get those talents that you want to sell or develop, you're gonna have to buy talents. You have to let teams buy. We need to be allowed to buy more $1, $2, $3 million players like what Miami did with Diego Gomez and flip them for $18 million. That is the key. You do that, you flip them, you buy more, you rinse, you wash, you repeat. 80s Nostalgia Guy says we need to aim to become top 5. I don't disagree with that, but I'd be happy with being number 7, number 6, number 8. I'd be happy with that because we're not currently top 10 right now, in my opinion. Mr. Crab says, what people don't understand is here in America, we have a salary cap in our sports. We do, but all the other leagues have a very high salary cap. MLS has a very low salary cap. Christopher Roman says, salary caps and playoffs are king in American sports leagues. It is what it is. I'm okay with having a salary cap. I would just like the salary cap to be larger than $5 million. So the thing about Major League Soccer is they spend their money very wisely for what they have, right? 5 million, they spend it it's a little more than that because of TAM and GAM and DPs and U22s, but MLS is very effective in what they are allowed to spend. So if you even doubled the resources, I think you'd see a drastic increase in quality and talent in the league. 80s Nostalgia Guy says if the Dodgers can pay $700 million for Ohtani, why can't MLS allow an entire team to pay that much for their team? MLB makes more money than MLS currently, so that's why. Lucas says Botafogo just won the Libertadores as well. Extra 25 million. Exactly. The Sounders have no chance. Come on. I doubt. The best case scenario is they get a draw with Botafogo. That is not likely to happen. Keyshawn says Miami definitely have a chance to get out of the group. I think they do, but their offseason has to be exceptional. They got to really reinforce that defense. They got to get consistency in goal. And I think they're going to have to be able to replace Diego Gomez. I think they're going to have to get rid of one of the Barca boys. I think they're going to have to get rid of Sergio Busquets because he's not worth $10 million at this point, and he's not worth a DP spot. If we're being honest, he's not. Good player, one of the best midfielders of all time. He's not worth a DP spot in MLS. You only get 3 per team in case some of you don't know that. You can't use one on him for what he offers. Those spots are too valuable. When you think about Luis Suarez making $1.5 million, Sergio Busquets making $10 million, Luis Suarez is underpaid. Sergio Busquets is overpaid. Lucas says, if we want to compete against these giant clubs, we need to level up the money, and we have the money to use. That's another thing. I don't feel bad for these teams. MLS has all these billionaires owning their teams. Like, they're not broke. You got to spend money to make money. They want people to watch the league before it becomes really good and then invest it. But that's not that's not how it works. You got to build a really good league first and have people come watch it. If the NFL was bad, if the EPL was bad, people would not be watching it. And I'm not saying MLS is bad, but I'm just saying that they want people to just swarm MLS now, completely dive in, watch it as it is, and not really invest that much money and then do that later. That's not how it works. You have to invest first, and then the viewership, the fans will come later. That is the key. The Alchemist says, valuation for the players can increase depending on a transfer records for sales and performances in the Club World Cup. I think this will be a good chance for some players maybe at Miami to showcase their talent. Maybe a Federico Redondo. I think Toto Alvarez will be gone. We'll just be curious to see what young players will be with Miami at that tournament. Seattle really doesn't have any young players right now. Pedro de la Vega, I don't think, is really going to do anything. Now, Nuhu could do something. Obed Vargas could do something. Georgie could do something. There are some players maybe for Seattle. It just depends. It's really hard to look good when you're playing against teams like this in their group. So we will see. Lucas says, especially the defense like Porto and Palmeiras will tear them apart. Miami specifically, yes, they will tear them apart. Al Ali will definitely be torn apart too. I would suspect, unless they reinforce their defense. It's like they couldn't get two center backs. Kristoff will hopefully be gone too. That guy is absolutely washed at this point. I mean, he's washed on the sea, washed. They have to reinforce their center back. They probably need 3 to 4 new center backs this offseason. They need to get rid of Alvarez. They don't need to extend David Martinez. They need to get rid of Kristoff. They need probably 4 center backs, 2 starters, and 2 depth pieces this winter. Probably going to go another 10 minutes and then I'm going to hop off. As you can tell, voice is kind of messed up. I have the live stream on Saturday, so I'm going to rest as much as I can. But I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I thought it was important, especially because of how brutal one of these groups are and how manageable one of the other groups were. And speaking of Inter Miami, let's see. Nathan Miller says, what are the odds that Miami could win it all, assuming they fix their defense and get some more superstars? Messi makes superstars more likely to join his team. Man, I don't think there's any chance of winning it all. If they get out of the group stage, that's a huge win for MLS and Inter Miami. Now, maybe they could win their next game in the knockout round, maybe, or the semifinals, however it works, however this aligns and what the format is. Maybe, but there is no chance at all they're winning it. No chance at all. 0% chance they win it. Honestly, I'll give you 1% just to say. 80s Nostalgia Guy says MLS needs to think long term. Let's be real. After next year, Messi is done. If MLS wants fans to continue following the league, they need to allow teams to get world-class players in their prime. And here's the thing, 80s Nostalgia Guy, who is going to be the first player to take that leap? Who's going to be the first guy from Europe to leave Europe in his prime and come to Major League Soccer? Who is the first team or first player to do that? Is it going to be Haaland? Is it going to be Mbappe? Is it going to be someone way down the road after them? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. Now, that's going to be a true historic moment. Beckham was 32. Zlatan was 38. Thierry Henry was 33. Messi was 36, going on 37. Who's going to be the first person to come over here at 26, 27, 28 in their prime in MLS? That is going to be the true groundbreaking moment for the league. Lucas says, I'm not even being dramatic. That Egyptian team could give Miami a run for their money. They could. Obviously, Seattle got bounced by an Egyptian team. I don't think, was it Al Ali that they got bounced in the Club World Cup in 2023? I can't remember who it was, but I know it was an Egyptian team. Matt Sexton says, thumbnail of this is hilarious. Fanboying the club that got invited versus earning. Even in the easiest group, group won't make it past, yet you can't help but focus on that over an American club with history. I mean, I just talked about the Sounders. I just talked about them. They're in the hardest group stage in the whole tournament. They have no chance. It has nothing to do with Seattle. Put Miami in their group. They would have no chance. If Miami was in that group, they would have no chance. If Lyon was in that group, they'd have no chance. If Monterrey was in that group, they'd have no chance. If Pachuca was in that group, they would have no chance. Nathan Miller says, Mohamed Salah, I don't think he's going to leave Liverpool for MLS anytime soon. Mr. Krabs says, LA Galaxy was able to get Ricky Puig to come while still in his prime. But it's different, though. Ricky Puig was still unproven. He was not a consistent starting 11 player, hell, even squad player for Barcelona when he was there. I'm talking about a superstar in their prime. I'm talking about an Mbappe and a Haaland, someone like that. A Lamine Yamal at 27, 28, someone like that. Not saying they're going to. I'm just saying a player of that caliber coming to Major League Soccer at 26, 27, 28 years old. That will be the earth-shattering move that really gets the league. It shoots it into a different stratosphere, in my opinion. Jovinko and Puig came in their primes. They did, but they're not superstars. They're not world stars. They're not not everybody knows Sebastian Jovinko. Not everybody knows Ricky Puig. They're good players. I'm talking about superstars. I'm talking about I'm talking about Kylian Mbappe. I'm talking about Erling Haaland. I'm talking about top 5 players in the world coming here at a young age when they could be playing at a Man City or Madrid for years to come. Ricky Puig, love him to death. He's not playing at Real Madrid. He's not playing at Manchester City. Jovinko couldn't even start for Juventus. And I love both of those guys, but it's completely different on what I'm talking about. Neymar. Neymar is injury prone at this point. He's 32 years old. That would have been a good move maybe last year, maybe. I'm talking about 26 to 28 years old. Okay, Lucas says, let's talk about what CONCACAF teams you think are advancing. Okay. All right. So, as far as CONCACAF teams that I think could advance, I think that let's talk about Group D. I don't think Lyon is going to advance. Just with the 2 teams alone, Flamengo and Chelsea, I think they have no chance of advancing. I think that they're going to get grouped. Okay. Move over to Group E. Got Inter Milan, you got Monterrey, you got River Plate. Not familiar with the other club. Doesn't matter. River Plate is arguably one of the most historic team in South America. I don't think that Monterrey is better than River Plate. I sure as hell don't think that Monterrey is better than Milan. I think that Milan. I think that Milan and River Plate will advance in Group E. Now let's move on to Group H. Now all of us know that Madrid is really good at these type tournaments. When they're so in the regular season in the Liga, but when they play in the Champions League or the Club World Cup, they truly dominate. Okay, so go ahead and pencil them in. Actually, write them in pen. Put them in permanent marker. They're going to advance. So it's between Salzburg. Is that Salzburg? Let me just make sure. Just want to double check. I want to double check the teams. I don't want to get anything wrong. Let's just look at this and make sure. Okay, Salzburg. Is it? I always mispronounce the Saudi Arabian teams. Is it Al Hilal? Al Hilal. Either way, I think that Pachuca could advance. They're the second best. I think that Inter Miami probably has the best chance of any CONCACAF team with their group. The second best chance is probably Pachuca. Now, Pachuca, obviously, Al Hilal is a good team. They spend a lot of money. They have a lot of good players. They will be tough, but Pachuca is a good team. They beat Columbus Crew in the Champions League. They shown that they're resilient. Red Bull Salzburg is also a good team, but I think they could have a chance to beat them as well. I think they're very even-keeled teams. So if I had to give my perspective on this, I would say that I think that that Pachuca has the second best odds of any CONCACAF team in our region in advancing to the next stage. Miami's number 1, Pachuca is number 2. I don't think Monterrey has a chance of beating River Plate and Inter Milan, and I don't think that Lyon has a chance of beating Chelsea or Flamengo. So Miami might be our only chance in CONCACAF because they have probably the easiest group. Now, this group looks really easy over here. I recognize, I think that's a Korean team in the Fluminense and the Dortmund group. Not sure what the other team is. That's a pretty easy group, but Fluminense and Dortmund are definitely going to advance. As far as an evenly distributed talent or matchup, I think that this is about as close as it can get. Group A. Miami has a chance if they make the right reinforcements. So, think Miami. I'm skeptical because I don't know what their team looks like. I think it's 50-50 they get out of the group as of right now, December 5th, 2024. And as far as Group B, I think the Seattle Sounders have a 1% chance of getting out of their group. It would be a miracle. Lucas says, I think Miami could or Monterrey. That's it. So you think Monterrey could beat River Plate and Inter Milan? I don't know, man. I don't know. It will be close. Let's see, Mr. Austin, this is your chance to improve big moments like this. Guys, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the FIFA Club World Cup. I feel good about it. Well, Miami, I feel somewhat good about it. Seattle, I don't feel good about it. I'm going to be interested to see what happens. It all depends on the league. It depends on what the league decides to do to give these teams more money or more resources to spend to improve their teams heading into big tournaments and MLS, which they should do because we all want the quality to improve. 80s Nostalgia says, does the USL have salary caps? What if a billionaire filled a USL team with world-class players? Would they be able to compete against MLS teams? I think there is a salary cap in USL. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. It's all relative to the the revenue, how much the league makes. I'm gonna look that up real quick just because I am curious. Let's see. I'm not seeing any specific salary cap for the USL, but they don't spend a lot of money. They don't really have a lot of money to spend. James says, how far does Chelsea make it? That's my club. Chelsea will make it out of the group stage, and it just depends on how the matchup goes next. But I think they'll definitely make out of the group stage at least. But guys, listen, I appreciate you joining me on this last minute, short notice live stream talking about the FIFA Club World Cup. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys are excited because I'm excited to see what happens and see what MLS teams and Concacaf teams and just honestly any of the teams do in a format like this, the first of its kind with club teams. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like this video down below. And like I said, we are less than 100 subscribers until we hit 5,000, which our goal is to hit by Saturday for MLS Cup Final Day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel, share this channel with a friend, and hit that little bell notification so you never miss a video. Until next time, guys, I will see you all soon.